Hello, it's me again. Ready?
Cloud City ambush detachment. I just blasted a noisy droid. We need someone to come clean this mess up.
back thing is crazy, dude. I remember being at content like 2 days ago, and when I was talking to Brandon, he was saying that like Fred texted Shotzi after they lost or whatever, and I was like, "Are you guys gonna join again?" He was like, "I don't know." I think his words were, "Shotzi runs this shit. I don't really know." I think it was Shotzi's choice. It is cool that he's back though.
We found love in
Monday.com, the first work platform you'll love to use.
12영상이라고 들어.
Gender people
You
exist.
propagandized.
I will say transgender people exist.
Yeah, sure. I would say the same thing. But what
Okay.
we mean by transgender means what?
Somebody who has what is it? Body dysmorphia
Surgery.
or whatever.
Okay, so they're mentally ill.
And they in order to be
Are they
like,
mentally ill?
body dysmorphia is a mental illness, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So why is it that we're taking the word from a bunch of mentally ill people about what a woman and a man is?
Well,
Ghosty?
just because
We're not taking the word of them. We're talking about professionals that work with them. I think we're
Oh,
taking
Just
they're
their
because
word.
it's
professionals.
a
But Ghosty just said that
mental
she doesn't
illness.
believe in sociology, remember?
Maybe we disagree there. Go ahead.
I didn't
Remember
say I
how
didn't
Ghosty
believe-
said she doesn't believe in sociology?
I
Remember
said
that
it's
just
not
a few minutes ago?
I said it's not a real
Oh.
science.
Oh, it's not a real science. And who
But
says that men can be
psychology
women?
is. Psychology is.
I'm
though.
sorry, psychology is
It's a soft science,
sociology.
too.
Psychology is sociology.
No, it's not.
Oh,
It's a
really?
soft
is not
science.
Go ahead.
sociology.
Go ahead and pull up sociology and psychology.
Sociology
see
is the
which
study of
branch-
social sciences. Psychology is the study of
Wait. What is
Brain,
sociology?
right?
What is sociology?
The
study
difference
of,
is scale.
What is sociology?
the study of like social issues, social sciences, like social
Mm.
interactions.
And what is
Andrew,
psychology?
Psychology
Wait,
is
wait,
the
Andrew,
study-
let me ask you a question. Go ahead.
Sure.
Address that one.
Go ahead.
I'm just curious. Like, do you think no one is actually suffering from dysphoria?
No,
Like,
I
do you
think
think
they
that's
are.
not a thing?
I think they are.
I was just curious.
I think that there are people who have a condition where they believe their limbs are causing them problems and want to cut them off. Would you say that they should?
If it gives them a better life outcome, then yeah.
How are you measuring better? If they feel
Wait,
better in the
I
moment?
just want to make sure I got this
All right,
right.
yeah.
Your little brother comes to you and he's like, "Hey, my right arm, I really hate this right arm. I'm gonna fucking chop it off."
Is it causing
you would-
pain?
This doesn't.
Well, sure, it's causing mental anguish. Yeah.
That doesn't apply to.
No, that's a
think
real
real life.
fucking condition. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
It's
that
a
one
real
is.
condition.
But wait, it is the best solution. Is the best solution cutting their arm off? Because I think that's the difference. Where a lot of people are
sometimes they
saying,
cut the arm off. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know enough about that one, but maybe. If they're gonna
Mm-hmm.
live in anguish without doing that for the rest of their lives, like maybe, I don't know. I just know enough people.
Now, if I cut my right arm off because it's causing me anguish, am I now not a male?
Your arm?
Yeah.
no, that's not the same thing.
No. Okay. So let me say my penis is causing me anguish and I cut that off. Am I now no longer a male?
Muzzle tough.
That's definitely not the determining factor for me. I'll say that.
Yeah, I would say so.
Wait. Can I just ask you to answer me honestly? If
Okay.
my arm was causing me anguish and I cut it off, am I a male, sir? Still.
Oh, yeah.
If I cut my penis off because it causes me anguish, am I still a male?
I guess like biologically, but you can.
No, not biologically. Am I still a fucking male or not?
Well, it's a complex question, right? Because
How come if my
I know you
arm
guys.
goes,
I
I'm
know
still
you
a
guys.
male, but
I
if
know
my
you like to
penis
dispute.
goes,
No, because I know you like to dispute that like gender, I guess like isn't a real thing or whatever.
what
but
is gender?
not.
What is it?
It's different than sex.
It's an expression of male and female, I guess.
Oh, okay. So if we look at both ends of gender, if it's on a spectrum, what are we pointing to?
Both ends on a spectrum. What are we pointing to?
So if a gender is a spectrum, we have to have 2 points in which the spectrum points to. What are both spectrums pointing to?
You mean male and female?
I'm asking you.
Wait, that's a rainbow is a spectrum. That doesn't mean like by default it's like it ends with red and ends with another color. Like
It ends
No,
with
a
blue.
rainbow is not. That's not a good example.
I just
Silly.
it's literally a spectrum of light.
Wait. So the color red is in a rainbow, yeah?
Yeah, but you don't have to classify yourself as either red or
Yeah,
blue.
great.
There's a lot of
Is
intermediate
a
step, right?
color red in a rainbow?
Yes.
Yes, I agree with that.
Is a color red in a spectrum?
Yeah.
Then it's pointing to something, which is within the spectrum of red. So now let me ask you a question. If you're saying that male, female is
So, wait, disagree. No, it starts with red because that's like how our eyes were. We happen to see
Great,
red
yeah,
first.
that's
It's very,
great.
it's
None
very
of that
possible we could have.
matters. It's
It's
totally
very possible we could
irrelevant.
have. It's literally directly relevant. We
Yeah,
could
I
have.
know.
We could
Go
have. We
back
could
to
have
the
evolved eyeballs that would like
programming.
would have started somewhere else, and then which would have pointed elsewhere. So
Okay,
I just don't
great.
think. I don't think it's very accurate to say it's pointed to red. You can say it
Okay,
starts
great.
with red.
What is gender? What is gender, sir? What is
You're
it?
asking me now?
Yeah,
Well, do I really want to answer your question? Because once I brought up my thing, you kind of didn't
because
like
it's
that, so.
stupid, and I'll explain why.
Well, I'm
What
just
is gender?
curious.
No, you
Hey,
brought- you
so
brought-
let him answer.
no.
Let him answer.
I'll go to this. No, I'm giving you a very good response where you're saying, oh, it's a spectrum. Therefore, we had to like have this dichotomy where I'm like, no, it doesn't necessarily have to be that. Spectrums can be, it's not a 0 or a 1 kind of thing.
Okay. Oh, it's not. Okay. Well, let's see. Let's see if we can't test this. Is red a thing?
Yes.
Great. So then that means not red is the thing?
Yeah.
So then there must be a delineation point between when one color becomes red and when it's not red?
No, there's no clear delineation.
So then how is red a thing?
Because it's something like it's a part of the spectrum we identified and like we can identify it as like a color that we all
There
agree
must
upon.
be
So,
some
the definition was-
delineation point between
No, no.
when red and
No.
not red becomes red.
Saturation. I guess
No,
like the
you're-
saturation.
Oh, saturation. Okay, great. So
No,
then
no,
if
wait,
we
you're
look at-
basing. Wait, also, I got to stop in here real quick. You're basing it off of like human perception. We happen to perceive colors a different way. Other animals perceive it very differently. So we're just going by
Okay.
what we have. So I think
Yeah,
that's the main
what we
difference.
have.
There's no clear like, oh, red starts here and orange starts here. It's more so we kind of identify like, hey, this part of the spectrum we kind of
So
we want to
There
label.
has to
color?
be.
Wait, I'm
There
almost done.
has to be.
I'm almost done. To be practical, we were like, okay, let's label this color, this part of the spectrum, this, and we'll delineate it. But that's not how it actually works in reality. It's a constant gradient. There's no point where there's like definitively you're going from one color to the other. We just divided that because it's easier for communication.
There either is a distinction, a
so-
delineation,
so
or there's no
it-
distinction.
Exactly. It's impossible. What you're talking about is a contradiction. Is there the color red?
Yes.
Then
It's an
is
idea,
there the
yeah.
color? Then is there all colors which are not red?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Then,
I would say yes.
There's a delineation.
Yeah, but you're not listening to me. The delineation has to do with communication. It's easier for us to say, okay, all these
What?
colors, all
Then,
these
then it's
colors.
not a thing.
they
Then
had-
it's not
they
a
had-
thing. Then red doesn't exist.
Do you understand? Like there can be there could be like a spectrum or something that like where there's a constant gradient, but also we might label parts of that to make it easier to identify.
Sure.
I don't know
Let's
what
do
any of
that.
this has to
That's
do.
all I've been saying.
Well, then,
Yeah,
then let's do
go.
let's do that.
I've
If
been
there's
saying
a
that for the past 5
spectrum
minutes.
and there's certain parts which are easier to identify than other parts, would you say that a penis versus a vagina would be easier parts to identify than anything in between penis and vagina, considering how many
gender?
people
No.
have penises and how many people have vaginas?
Maybe for sex, but not for gender. I would think.
Because
what is
gender's not a
so,
thing.
okay, great. So then what is gender?
I'm gonna hop off to go
Your
see.
imagination.
Hop off. Okay, you hop off. We'll let Sarah get back to her super chats.
I'll
No,
well,
I think
Gosi was addressing this earlier. I'll give the same definition earlier, where it's kind of like the colloquially the things we associate with a certain sex. So things you associate with being a male versus
So
being a woman.
what is gender
Those things are
pointing
not.
to?
Those things are not inherent. Wait, you asked me a question. Let me just answer. I'm almost done. But those things are not inherently involved. Like, yeah.
So I just want to let you know what you just said. Gender is alluding to things that we consider to be associated with a what?
Currently, I'm saying the currently definition is associated with sex, but in a different society, we might associate it less with sex.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, what you just said was these words. Gender is a construct which we generally associate with what?
sex.
Sex. So then both points of the gender debate would be pointing at what?
Booking a flight? Download Kayak's app and set a price alert. We'll notify you as soon as the price changes. In the meantime, do what people do. Procrastinate. 1 day, 2 days. Alert. Time to book already? Wow. Back to Kayak for a great deal on your flight.
Yeah, but just because society today has this association,
Yeah,
that's accurate.
So both
Male and female?
instances
Is
of
that the
gender would be
answer?
yeah, that's the answer.
That's
It's very
I
literally
said
simple.
that 10 minutes ago.
Holy
Yeah, but
shit.
that's literally the definition of
But
gender.
here's the thing, right? Is that understand from my perspective, you think Andrew Wilson bad faith? Try to put yourself in my shoes. When I literally catwalk you to the fucking answer and you still won't give it because you hate the fact.
No, I said
that
it
these-
straight up 10 minutes ago.
Answered all your
you
questions.
did, you
None of
did,
us.
but
We have not
I
dodged
heard-
any of your questions for the past 5 minutes. I've answered all of them.
Okay, so
If you're-
gender's
if you
pointing at
want.
what? Gender's pointing at what, sir?
I said this is associated with sex. I don't
It's
disagree.
associated with sex. So if both spectrums are associated with sex, what there really is sex, and what the social construct is fucking gender. Yeah.
I can't believe I had to add this caveat. Currently in today's society, because it's changed. We had different ideas of gender in the past. It'll probably change in the future. So there's no reason it has to be the same as today.
But
But currently,
pointing
today in
at-
society, yes, it is associated with sex, but it
Yeah,
doesn't have to be
it's
that
associated
way.
with
That can
sex.
change.
So what is real is sex, and what is a social construction is gender. Correct.
I think I agree
And
with
once-
that.
Okay, great.
Once it stops being associated with sex, it's no longer gender.
So
It's no longer a gender trait once it stops being sex associated.
Oh, but what is your argument? Is that
My argument is simple. My argument is that sex is a biological reality, and that the
Okay.
associatives that you put on this spectrum are actually just indicating sex. And so if we know what is true is that we all have a sex. What is not true is that we all have a gender. Then what you're pointing at is the thing which is real that you're trying to be, even if it's not real. For instance, let's just take an elf. What is the characteristics of an elf from Lord of the Rings?
20 years.
Okay, I agree. What else?
They live a really long time.
So if I were to say I live longer than average and I glue elf ears to my fucking head, am I an elf?
No, but in a fancy environment, there might be other species that also have pointed ears, and it
Yeah,
wouldn't be, it
great,
would be
great.
crazy to
I'm
be like,
talking about
wow,
elves.
all people with pointed ears are therefore
Okay, then
elves.
what are the characteristics of elves that are different than those of other species with pointy ears?
I think
Not-
you're
I'm not a Lord of the Rings
overcomplicating
expert, but-
this.
You're not an
Okay.
expert, right? Yeah, I'm just
I'm
what
Lord
I'm
of the Rings,
asking
no, I'm
you.
not a fucking nerd. I don't know about Lord of the Rings. There might be other
I think-
species with pointy ears, I
but
imagine.
are you actually an elf? Because the characteristics of elves, you meet whatever those characteristics are. Are you actually that thing?
Well, I
I will say-
qualify as an elf because I'm really little. But go ahead, Prawn, if you wanted to answer.
Well, I think you're kind of putting, and I don't know what Ghosty feels, but I think you're kind of putting some progressive box where to me there is a difference between like a biological sex and gender. So I do agree there's a difference there. But
What
that's
is
why
the
I'm
difference?
gonna.
One is real and one isn't, right?
One
Only
has
if
to
an
do
expert
with
says so.
your perception, both like how you're perceived by others in your own perception, and one is not. So I think that's a
one
big
is, so
difference.
which one is real?
I don't believe in that dichotomy.
So
So
I
you
think-
can't answer the question. Which one is real? Is sex real or is
They're
gender
both
real?
real.
Which one is
Okay,
entirely
They're both real,
subjective?
Yeah.
Which one is an objective reality? Which one is not?
sex.
Sex. Thank you. Okay, we can move it on
I can
from
agree
there,
with you there.
Sarah. Thank you.
So sex is
Thank you.
I just
Thank
said
you.
that. Andrew, wait. I'll let you go see it. But wait, I agree with you. I just said a second ago.
You don't
I
fucking
just-
agree with nothing. All
No, I
you do
literally
is
said-
obfuscate and
literally
lie
said-
your ass off because you
Let
don't
me-
like the
let me repeat
comment
it.
that you
Let
say.
me repeat, because you're not very good listening. I literally said one is the perception of you, both your internal and other ones. That would be subjective. So I actually
And what are
agree
they
with you.
pointing
But
at? But what are they pointing at?
No, wait. I'm saying you're acting like saying subjective is a dunk. I literally just said the same thing in different words a second ago. So it's not like presenting like, oh, I fucking dunked on you when
Oh,
you literally
really?
said the same thing I said in different words.
We established there was no objective truth, and now sex is.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
If
Well, then we have
One
nothing
is
to argue.
one is based on
What-
perception. One is not.
This is their sex, and then what you do is you say gender. The gender spectrum between sex deviates towards sex, which means there's no middle. There's no middle ground. You're either
I just
this
said,
or
I just
you're
said
that.
again, that is based on today's society. That is not inherently the system. It can change. It's changed the
It's
past.
not
It can change the
inherently true.
future.
Okay, fair enough. If it's not inherently true, is
Literally,
sex?
in other societies today, there are like a third genders. So
well,
like,
let's-
this is
let us
There's
find
not
out
third-
if this
and
is
all,
true.
and all.
Is sex objectively true and gender is not objectively true?
I think I agree with that.
Okay, well then there's nothing more to argue about.
One
There's
has-
nothing more
one
to
has
argue about.
perception, and one
No,
does
but,
not.
like,
Yeah.
why
Perception would still be pointing at what is objectively true.
what makes this
I'm
such
agree- yeah,
a
I agree.
big like issue though, that like what is it about the fact that transgender people exist makes
They
it
don't.
like not truth or
Transgender.
like what is your
okay.
problem, like what is your problem
What
with
is a
the,
transgender person? Let's start with that.
somebody who has body dysmorphia
Hmm.
and it associates
So
with
they're
the
under a
other
delusion. Would you agree
gender.
they're under a delusion then if they have body dysmorphia?
Well, if it's a real condition, so
I agree. It's a real condition. Would you agree
Do
that
you-
this condition indicates that there's a mental illness?
By your
Yes.
definition, are you saying all mental illnesses are delusional?
It's a
No.
mental illness that needs
Okay.
treatment, and in order to treat it,
Agreed. So it's a mental illness that needs treatment. If
Mhm.
I said that I was the Queen of France, why would I be wrong?
this isn't an equivalency.
It is an equivalency. If
They
I said
got-
I was the
exactly.
Queen of France, why would I be wrong?
Because you're not the Queen of France.
Okay, with that, I'm going to go take a leak. I hope you really fucking think about what just happened. I hope you really think
It's
about
not an
what just happened
equivalency.
there. I got to take a leak.
It's
Sarah,
not
I'll
an
let you go on
equivalency.
with your super chats.
Thank you. I hope you don't need any help in there. Marathon Kev coming in with the big 20 says, watching from a distance, salute Sister Sarah and my ninja Flo. What's up, Marathon?
That
You
level
fuck
of,
you.
of
Lie to you.
accommodation.
Be-
So
Great
far,
question.
there's no evidence that dogs had dysphoria. If that was an issue, we might want to address it. I just want to say this quickly with the French thing.
Dysphoria
When-
implies that it's not
there's-
true.
there's mo-
Dysphoria implies this is a mental illness based on something not true. I just want to let you know that.
The big difference between like this analogy with like you're the king of France. The thing is, there's evidence that shows actually addressing your dysphoria and like kind of identifying as other sex actually alleviates your symptoms. I don't think that'd be the case for the.
Oh, sure.
scenario you're
You know what?
talking
I'll
about.
grant the argument.
Is
If
your-
I'm the queen, if I say I'm the Queen of France, then you're going to tell me that I am and treat me like I am, right?
Yeah, but that probably wouldn't help
Is
you. Where it
your-
would
Alleviated my symptoms to treat me like straight. What if I could demonstrate that it did? It alleviated my symptoms to treat me like the Queen of France. You had to roll out a red carpet every day, throw roses at my feet, and follow all of my commands. Would you do it? If it
well, the
helped
difference is
me,
we're not asking people to do that
if
much
it
for.
helped me, would you do it?
Yeah.
we're
I see an
asking people to-
opportunity
we're asking-
here.
We're asking people to use the same like pronouns. We're not asking people to roll out the red carpet
If
for you.
it
So
helped
again, it's
me,
not.
would you do it?
No, probably not. I probably would not put
No,
that burden on
probably
people
not.
where.
Yeah, that's what I
it's the same
thought.
thing. If it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you because it helps you.
Why
help
wouldn't
you.
you?
I'm not.
All you
kidding
gotta do, all you
No,
gotta do
no,
is
no,
say,
no. If trans people are asking for that level of. If
I'm
trans
not
people
gonna
are
lie
asking
to you.
for that
You
level
fuck you.
of
I'm not gonna lie to you.
accommodation
You
beyond
fuck
people's
you.
Queens
pronouns,
and
I would be
exist.
against that.
Queens of France exist.
Nobody's gonna fucking lie to you to help you. Fuck off. Bullshit. Fuck off.
Well,
We're
I
not gonna
guess
lie
the
to you to help
question-
you. All you're saying is, yeah, I would have to lie to you to help you, but it's so much of a lie that I just feel like I shouldn't do that. But I feel like it's such a little lie that you should do that, Andrew. Fuck you. It's the same shit. You're just asking me to lie to help them, but you wouldn't lie to me to help me with whatever my fucking condition. Fuck off, dude. Fuck
And
Is
the
your,
answer
is
to
your,
get- let
is
me-
your whole thing?
Fuck
Is your
you.
whole thing like, oh, a transgender woman is not a biological female? Is that your whole gotcha?
I mean, that's
Yeah,
subjective.
we
law.
agree. We agree.
No,
Here.
I agree with that too. There's like
We're not
no.
progressive. We are
don't.
sane.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You're lying to me. And here, I'll demonstrate it very quickly. Is a trans woman a woman?
I address. They're a transgender woman. Yeah.
Yeah, is a trans woman a woman?
Biological, or are you talking about the gender?
Is a trans woman a fucking woman? Can you say yes or no?
Well, I have to ask you a question. I need more information.
What? So hang on. So then, what is a trans woman versus a woman then?
Wait, Andrew, just even earlier you agreed. At least we feel that sex and gender are different. So you should at
Great.
least
So
accommodate
what's-
that.
so
we
what's
agree
a
those different.
trans-
So you had to specify. Are you talking
Great.
about
So
the,
what
are you
is
talking
a
about the
trans
sex or
woman?
gender a woman?
Okay, so I would say that a what you call a trans woman is a man dressing up like a woman and pretending to be a woman. That's what I would say. So you tell me then, now that you know my position, and I unequivocally told you it, what is a trans woman?
A trans woman is a biological male who has
Mhm.
body dysmorphia, who
Mhm.
transitioned to present as a female in order
Mhm.
to address their condition.
Oh, great. Are they females?
Biologically, no.
Okay. Are they women?
Uh, yes, or I will like
Ah,
address them
there
as
we
women,
go,
but they're
there we go.
trans women.
So what is
I
okay?
know
So
there's
they're
a
not
difference
women.
between women and trans women, but I
Okay,
have no
so a trans
problem with
woman is a
addressing
man?
trans women as
So
women.
a trans woman is actually a man.
They're,
Do you understand how, like, at least based on our worldview, like that?
Can
that
you let her
that
answer,
question,
White Knight? Let her answer.
I will. I'm sure she's
Let
gonna
her
listen, but do you
answer,
under-
bro. Let her
this is
answer.
This is very. This is very important, though.
Yeah,
Like,
and we'll
do you
get to you.
understand
We'll
how
get
that
to you.
question
We'll
makes no
get to you.
sense to
We'll
someone
get
like
to
me?
you. No,
Hold
we'll get to you, Sam.
on.
Let her answer.
What was the
Is
question?
a trans woman a woman?
they are a trans woman.
So what is a trans woman?
I already told you this. We're
It's
just
a
gonna go
man
around
dressing
in
up
circles.
like a woman. It's a man dressing up like a woman.
No, they're not dressing up. I mean, that might be part
Yes,
of
they
it,
are.
but they have. Like I already explained this. They're biological
So
male.
okay, well let's start with this. What is a woman?
It's a toy monkey?
It's evil. It's basically the devil.
Again, like that's a loaded question.
It's a
I
loaded
guess.
question. What a woman is? Really?
Yeah,
You know.
We have to- Hey, stop,
let me
stop,
jump
bro.
in. No,
Stop,
you said
bro. It's
you
my
said
turn.
you
It's my
you
turn.
said you let me jump
We'll
in.
get
So
to
no,
you,
you can't
bro.
ask.
We'll
You
get
can't
to you.
ask
We'll
questions
get-
back to
We'll
back to
get
back.
to
You're
you.
gonna
We'll get to you.
jump in.
Stop splurging. We'll get to you.
You can't. You
Ma'am,
can't be like, I'll
ma'am,
go
stop
last
splurging. We'll
17
get to you.
questions.
Stop
All
splurging.
right,
woman.
Stop splurging.
Just let me jump in. Then you get a
Stop
An
splurging.
adult.
We'll get to
settle
you.
down.
I'm
You're not
just
gonna forget your
asking
question.
you.
Just address it after I jump in.
Shut up, bro. Shut up. It's 1v1. Wait
You
a
can't
second.
you can't
Ghosty.
handle it.
Ghosty. Are you a woman?
Yes,
What is that?
an adult female.
Okay, great. And are trans women that?
No, they're trans women.
Okay, thank you. That's all we needed. So it's a man. Got it.
But it's not a man. Yeah, I mean,
I identify as a woman. Are we the same? Literally, just now I turned
No,
trans.
Have you been diagnosed with
I just
dysphoria?
think- I
You
think-
just mentioned dysphoria as a big part of that. So I
That's
feel like
not a requirement.
I just don't think.
Guilty, did you not mention that?
I don't know. I know many people who are trans, and it's like not
And are
It's
they
like-
and are they women?
It's not this like la di da di da. Like I just want to be a man. Like I want to be a woman.
Yeah, are
No,
they
thing
women?
that you
It's
guys
not.
like kind of. Make it
Nobody's
Are
saying
they
it's
women,
something or
Ghosty?
whimsical.
Are they like you, Ghosty? Are they women?
They are trans women,
We
and I
keep
know
asking Ghosty
lots of
questions.
people.
Can I jump in?
Lots
Can
of
I
people
jump
give
in
me
question
shit
to the other side for a
even
second?
lots of people will give me shit for even just like making that differentiation. But there is a difference, especially as a feminist.
Okay, what's the
Let me
difference?
get it.
Like
This
if
is
I've
what the
already
big deal is.
explained it 10 fucking
Yeah,
times.
you said
But this is
you said,
what
you said I'm a category of this thing, and I agreed with you. You're a category of this thing, and the thing that makes you this thing are these criteria. And then I asked you, you know, what is a man then? Well, it's the criteria of these things. Well, then all you're saying is that everything which is not ontologically you is a man.
No, there's that's why but you guys agreed that trans men and women exist. But you're not
Depends
you're
on
trying
what you
to
mean
put
by
them,
that.
You're trying to
Andrew
put
said
them
earlier dysphoria exists.
That's a very strange.
Dysphoria exists, cross-dressing exists, surgery
I
exists.
agree. Well, hang on. No. I agree that men with mental illnesses exist, and I agree that women with mental illnesses exist. Can you explain what a trans person is?
I literally said it 10 times.
Yeah, so it's a man with a mental illness?
A man or woman with body dysmorphia.
Yeah, and then body dysmorphia is what?
It is a mental. Oh, this isn't
Okay,
some like.
so then
Ooh,
what
no, I know.
exists?
I agree.
So
It's
what
an
actually
an
exists is
mental
men and women
illness.
with mental illnesses. It's, it's simple. It's so simple. Even a fucking retard can get it. It's so simple. A literal second grader can understand these concepts. The only reason you double down on this because you don't want to hurt the feeling. You don't want to hurt the
You have
feelings
to,
of the
you
people
have
who
to
are
be
liars.
dishonest to have
No,
a different
'cause-
opinion, to come to a different conclusion.
No, but that's the whole problem. The problem is you're making it out like a liar. Like it's like a liar.
It is a
Calling
lie.
them
It is a lie.
liars.
Yeah, it's not true.
And
so
so
then
this is
if somebody
let-
tells you something which is not true, and they know it's not true, then what is it?
Wait,
But it's true that they
Andrew.
have.
Wait, Andrew. Did you not agree earlier that gender is a spectrum? You said this, right? You agree with me
No,
there?
I said based on your worldview, if it is a spectrum, it's still pointing to two things. I don't even believe
Okay,
gender
well,
exists. I don't think gender exists. I don't even think it's a thing. I think
It's
you just make
nothing.
this shit up so that you can try to say that, oh, well, there's social
So you think-
norms that
You
women
think sex and gender are
commit
one and the
to, and I
same?
can
I
prove it.
clarify that.
Here, I can prove it.
sex is
Right?
the only real thing.
If-
Gender's not a
if
thing
a
at all. It's
young
just
man-
imagination.
If a young male plays with dolls, is he now a female?
No.
Oh,
No, I would say no.
that's weird. But what you consider the concept of gender, if a young male plays with dolls, right, is he a female then?
Wait, what? No.
No, exactly. I agree. So in both
I
cases,
feel like we should define gender
bro,
again.
I'm trying to explain it to you. We don't even need to. We'll both agree on the definition. Gender would be the expectation of social norms based on the sex. You would agree.
Do you agree with me where like that's currently today where it doesn't have to be one-to-one with sex. We could change that worldview where it could be more correlated and less correlated to that.
Even the name transgender implies
I'll just grant it.
Left to right.
I can literally grant it. You're going to lose the argument either way. If a little boy who's playing with dolls doesn't make him less of a boy, and if a little boy playing with dolls doesn't make him less of a girl, then what makes him more of a boy or a girl?
And we're talking about gender in particular.
Yeah.
See, I would say it's a again. I don't like the dichotomy where it's not a clear spectrum where.
It's not.
That's what we're putting.
Thought it was.
Wait, Andrew. I'm trying to answer a question. You just asked a question. Can I fucking address it?
Wait,
as soon as I respond to a question, just you're trying to overtalk me. Yeah, very good faith. So I'm trying to answer a question you just asked me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that'd be a better society where like I don't think we should have like this view of like, oh, men only have these characteristics. I think there should be a more open view of what a man is, and I think if we kind of separate the difference between sex and gender, we are able to do that. Where I agree with you. We should not have that perception where like if a young kid plays with dolls, he's associated with a certain gender.
So
I want to divorce that connection. Go ahead.
What makes him a woman?
Are you making the argument that we can better help trans body dysmorphia by not accepting their transition?
I would make that argument.
What?
He wasn't, but I would make that.
First of all, there's no transition. You don't move from one thing to another thing. You are. By the way,
Okay,
that would
you understand
that
the
would literally
concept,
void.
though, right?
Stop. That would
You're not
void
actually,
the
like-
concept.
You're not
That
actually
would void the concept of identity. That would void the concept of identity. You can only be ontologically what you are. If you could ever be something other than what you are, then that would violate the law of identity. It's illogical. You are what you are. That is the second rule of logic, the law of identity.
Okay.
I think that's what we're saying. We're like, I agree.
So-
You should go to a more. Go ahead, Ghosty. Sorry.
So do you think to help trans people, to better help trans people, you would rather just deny their desire to transition?
You mean like we do
or to
with
be
all...
accepted as the opposite sex?
Like with
of course.
schizophrenics, and
Yeah,
we
of
deny
course.
their voices.
Yeah, of course we're gonna tell people the truth. Yeah.
And you think that would help them? Because I don't think the medical field agrees
hang
with
on.
you.
It's just about helping them. It's about helping all
Medical
of the public.
industry.
Wait, it's about helping all of the public.
How is it
Why?
hurting the
So
public?
Ghosty,
wait.
well, let me-
I wanna ask-
here.
ask
I'm
you a
gonna
question,
make the shut up, fucker. Let me make
You
the
love asking
argument.
Ghosty questions. Can we get a little bit of back and forth?
How does this chick ask me a question and you instantly cut in? Shut the fuck up. So back
You're
to
taking
you,
a lot of the
Ghosty.
bandwidth. I don't even know this.
Back to you, Ghosty. Well, okay. So I'll tell you what. You do this. Every time she asks me a question, you go ahead and cut in.
Every time.
Go-
Okay. I'll
yeah,
stick to
every
it.
single time. Go ahead. Ask me whatever question you wanted to ask me so that I can never answer the one she just asked me.
You're actually. I'll give Ghosty second, and then I'll jump
Then
in.
shut
Right after
up.
that. Right after that,
Ghosty,
we're gonna.
so
I'm gonna jump
Ghosty,
in.
so back to where we were at.
Ghosty.
before I was-
I thought Ghosty asked a question. Are you gonna?
And I'm trying to answer it. You have to stop talking though, bro, or I can't answer it. How can I answer a question if you keep talking? Okay, great. So anyway, Ghosty, back to your question. Your question was, should we affirm it? So to answer this question, let us assume for a moment, and this is true, that there are millions of people who do not want to affirm this because it does them harm. If that is the case, that it does you harm to affirm this thing, in other words, it's against some type of religious value or something like this, why is it that all those people should affirm it anyway?
If it's against your religious values, I get. Okay, so I'm not gonna force you to
Oh.
accept that, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how it's harming you specifically, but like
Because
I can't
we're lying.
make you.
Because we're not telling the truth.
Well, speaking
And
of
so
harm,
if it's
I'm
part of
gonna
it,
ask my
if
I'm gonna
it's
ask my
part of
question now because I think Andrew's gonna go off another question. So let's change it. So I'm just curious.
I was
at least
answering
the
her
research-
question. I was literally
There was,
answering
there was
her
no,
question,
there's no
not
fault.
asking
There's
her
no
one.
follow-up
Hold
question,
on,
so I'm gonna
Prawn.
jump in
Hold
here.
on, Prawn. I know you're excited. Just
Boy,
hold on.
you're you're really spurring when I'm trying to answer the question. So if you're a Christian, right, you would agree with me that the value of lying is no good, right? We're not allowed to lie. So if you tell us that we must lie in order to affirm an untruth, doesn't that do us harm?
I guess from your perspective.
Ah, well, that's why.
So it's just a disagreement based on belief values.
No, it's
Can
not
you name
disagreement based
one?
on belief values. You and I agree. This is not a woman. This is not a man.
Oh, wait,
You're
I
just
can't. I gotta ask my question. At some
the
point.
distinction.
Back
The
when
distinct. It's
I'm
real
curious.
quick.
What's the question?
We'll get to you. We'll get to you. We'll get to you. We're almost done.
No, I don't believe you.
He won't get to
Here's
you.
the distinction. Here's the distinction. The distinction is, Ghosty, is that you're the ones asking us to lie.
I guess
I think-
I was asking the harm. I was asking the harm, and I guess if your harm is that you can't understand the concept or
It's
don't
ontological
believe in the
coercion.
concept of it, and you consider that a lie to your religion, then
I'm not
sure.
religious, and it's a lie.
Okay,
But,
now-
but,
It's a lie.
but in order to make other people, why are you going to put that on other people though?
This is their delusion.
You don't have to accept it.
I can actually explain this very quickly. If I could, for some reason, show you and demonstrate to you that if everybody believed in Christianity, the world would be a better place, would you then advocate that all people believed in it?
If you could actually do that successfully.
If I could actually demonstrate that it in some way improved the world, if everybody believed in Christianity, even though we knew Christianity was a lie, would you then advocate we all believed in Christianity?
Me personally, no.
Okay, well then shut the fuck up. Anyway, so back to you, sir. Ready for your question.
I'm curious. I'm curious now about this because
You know what? Let me get in front of Pronto on this one.
I'll be real quick. It's gonna be real quick. It's gonna be a question.
I'm
You
just
guys can
fucking around. Go
respond.
ahead.
So I'm curious. Is at least based on my knowledge, the research shows like addressing their this dysphoria does like kind of make them less deletion prone. So I'm curious, like if you don't like that solution, what do you think is the best solution to address? At least if you call it mental illness, what do you think is the best solution to address their mental illness?
Very simple. I think, for instance, that if everybody was a Christian, that they would be less deletion prone. Therefore, should everybody be Christian?
I don't believe that'd be true. Why would not?
Because Christians delete themselves less than secularists. So
is that true?
therefore, yeah, that is true. Look it up. I'll wait.
What about?
I'll just take your word. Word for it.
So since that is true, should we advocate everybody be Christian?
Wait, you didn't really answer my question though, because I'm asking what do you think is the best solution to address their?
It's a logical
No, but no, you're trying to not answer my question by asking me a question. I'm asking you, what do you think is the best way to address their dysphoria? You don't like the current.
I'll answer your question if you immediately answer mine. Is that fair?
I'm happy to. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me rephrase it one more time though, because again, I'll admit I could be wrong here. I'm not an expert on the subject, but research seems to show that addressing their dysphoria, kind of like working with it. It has good outcomes. You don't seem to like that.
For the people
I'm
with
curious.
dysphoria. For the people with dysphoria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Okay,
Yeah, for
I
their,
would tend to even agree that that might be true.
so you don't seem like the
It's your
results.
turn.
The
Hang on,
results
I
though,
just
or,
answered
wait,
your question. I
that
just
was not, wait,
answered.
that was not my question. That was the
We made
preface.
a deal. We made a
wait,
deal.
That was not my question though. That was actually I said it
Question,
before.
Okay. Answer your
That was the
second
preface.
question. Now, this time, when I answer your second question, will you
promise,
must
I
answer
promise.
mine?
Andrew,
Okay.
stop. You've been taking up way more than airspace. Stop acting so like
just wanted to
angry.
make sure-
I'm trying to jump in.
Bro.
Time to time.
I
If
just
go
want to
back once
make sure
if
that
I
we're
go back
clear.
once the VOD, how much time do you think you've been?
This is how you got your
talking
airtime
with
back,
me?
man. You should have done this
Bro,
all along. This
Just
is
want
on
to
you.
make sure that we're
But
clear.
Andrew, like, you're like, oh my god,
Answer your
this guy wants to
second-
enter the panel. How dare you try to enter the conversation? You've been taking way more of this time, the airspace. Just let me jump in. Stop
To be
acting like a
fair,
baby 'cause
Princess,
I'm speaking.
to be fair,
Sure.
hold
I'm gonna
on.
let you
To be,
ask your question. I just want to make sure that after you ask your second one, you will actually answer
Andrew,
mine.
may
after.
I?
Promise.
Princess, just to be fair, because Flow State didn't do a whole lot of talking time, I usually divide the time by the sides. Just like the last debate Andrew was on, Torsia did very, very, very little talking, so therefore Andrew had more floor space. So I divide it that way and I look at it in that direction. So if you and Ghosty are both doing a lot of talking, I let it go both ways. But for Andrew's side, if Flo's staying more quiet, I just let him have the mic to himself. So
Fair enough. Fair enough. I do understand that. I do
I'm
gotta say,
gonna
yeah. But
answer your
if you look
second
at,
question, but you
yeah, okay,
promised
let me
this
just
time,
clarify.
right?
I promise. Yeah, I promise. I promise. I'm a good.
All
I'm a
right,
good
go ahead.
feedback.
Go
I'll
ahead.
answer
I'll
any
answer
question.
your second one.
But
Go
to be
ahead.
clear, my question is, although it's a preface, my question is, you don't seem to like the solution. What would you do to address their dysphoria that's different than what we're doing today?
Tell them the truth, and if they self-deleted, that's still better for the public.
Okay, at least you bit the bullet. Okay, what's your question for me?
There's no bullet to bite because I'm just going to ask you the second question back, and you're going to agree. If it were true that less people would self-delete, if you can convince them of the delusion of Christianity, would you then do so?
As soon as P heard it, he just laid the hook down. You shook, scared to death, scared to look.
You look like you kind of know what you're doing, but
And you kind of look like a keeper's elf, but my hands are clean.
I don't think that'd be the case, but I'd be open to that.
Literally answered your question, yes or no. Can you answer mine, please?
Yes, I'll say that. I'll buy
You
the bulletin.
you would convince them to be Christians?
I don't believe that's the case, but if that was the case, where definitively
Okay,
there'd
so
be
now
better,
I'm going
better
to
results.
demonstrate to you
Yeah.
that Christians delete themselves lesser than secularists. And since that is the case, you are now going to convince people that
But
they
wait, you're
should-
missing
Bro,
a big part though, because
my question. Can I ask my question before you answer?
I already answered the question. You're asking a second question now?
Yes.
Wait, you said one question.
Yes.
I already answered it. So now
We
you want to
made
ask
a
a second
deal.
question?
We made
I
a
wanna-
deal. So
Wait, I gave you yes or no, and now I want to expand upon my answer. Can I do that before you
okay,
ask
go
your second
ahead.
question?
Go
Is that
ahead.
fair enough?
You're not going to ever be able to evade though. But go ahead.
I won't evade. I'll ask your question. I'm not
You're
hiding. I just want to give it.
the logic
I just
track.
want
I just want to let you know.
I just want to expand on my answer before I go into the next
Uh-huh.
question. Is that
Go ahead.
fair enough? I
Yeah, go
think it's safe.
Go ahead.
I'm honestly kind of off track, but I think that the difference is. Fuck, just ask the second question. I fucking lost the point.
Oh,
God
now
damn
you
it!
don't
I need
know
to be a
what
better
question you were
debater.
gonna ask.
I
Now you
gotta
don't
write
know
this
what
shit down.
question you were going to ask. Okay, well then I guess you have to answer mine. So if
Yeah,
I
go
can
ahead.
demonstrate this for you right this second, that secularists delete themselves at a higher rate than Christians, you are
Ooh, I
going to
remember.
forevermore advocate that people be Christians, yeah?
I'll say yes with the caveat. Never I was gonna say. And keep in mind, part of the reason that probably do what the Transformers are deleting themselves more often is because we live in a society where they are not viewed as they want to be viewed. Where maybe if they're perceived differently, which again might be impacted by having a more secular society, I bet they would end up deleting themselves a lot less. So I want to give
but
that
you can-
caveat.
But you can't prove that, right?
No, actually, I think that we have research to say it's
Can
pretty
you,
true. Where
can you empirically prove it?
I'll look into data, but just based on how the best approach we have today for adjusting adjusting dysphoria is kind of like making them more similar to what they feel inside. That makes you think that's probably the best solution we have right now.
Okay, great. But can you empirically prove? Like here, I'll give you an example. Do you believe that right now there are just as many young people per capita who are transgender as there were in the 1920s? Per capita.
There's probably more, right? Yeah, I'd imagine.
Why
so.
would there be more?
I was gonna say probably the same.
Why would there be more, sir?
What do you mean? Like actually just
I said
experiencing it or identifying it?
Yeah, per capita. Are there as many people with gender dysmorphia now as there were in the 1920s?
I want to clarify. Diagnosed with definitely because we probably were not diagnosing anyone with that back in the 1920s.
I'm not asking diagnosed.
Okay, so just would have had it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I need more research.
What would be the contributing factor then if you're born with this for why it would be in the 1920s that you had it less than you have it now, unless it was social conditioning?
Well, I'm not saying either way. Go ahead.
There were definitely trans people like all throughout.
Yeah, do you
history.
think that there were as many per capita as there are now?
I don't see why there wouldn't be.
Yeah, that makes sense. There should be if they're born that way, right?
Right.
I think it'd be the same if you mean going on ghost definition like, with people that suffer dysphoria. I think it'd be the same number. If
Yeah.
you compare it back, maybe not diagnosed because back then we probably weren't looking
because
for
you
it.
can
Or
diagnose it,
openly
right?
identify
So then, can you
as
tell me something? If affirmation is how you stop them from killing themselves, then how come there was way less suicides in the 20s amongst the same peer groups that there's way more suicides in right now with trans?
I bet at least one factor is like there's probably more guns available, so it's a little bit easier to
There was
accomplish.
way more guns
There's
available in
not.
the 20s. Way more. There wasn't even a background check system.
That's how you got food.
So can you explain this to me? How it could be
I gotta look that up.
this
But
many
go ahead.
people had gender dysphoria, the same amount as right now, and yet the suicide rates per capita for the same groups were way lower when nobody affirmed it?
It's a good question. I gotta look more into it though.
Yeah, it's a good question because you're fucking dumb. You never think about nothing, and all of you should be ashamed of yourselves. Ready for the next super chat.
Praise baby Jesus. I've got one that came in on the Buy Me a Coffee app. The legendary Trash Panda came in with the big 25. Says, Andrew, take it easy on us, raccoomers. TF. Also, take another shot. I doubt you could handle it. Also, what Zin flavor are you on?
Well, right now I'm it's these like lime things, citrus.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
That's
about to pop
interesting.
another Zen. About to pop another one.
Fair enough.
Also,
I'm all
I had to look this up. I'm looking this up. There's way more guns now than in the 1920s. So I know what you guys are talking about.
Not available to people to buy. No, you had a background check. You have a background check system which was implemented by the Brady Act. You had the assault weapons ban. You've had every amount of gun control in the 1920s. You could have a Thompson submachine gun shipped to your front door.
Would you say that people today are hardier or more sensitive?
I don't know.
You don't think people today are like, little soy boy snowflakes and shit like that more than in the 1920s?
I'm not sure how I would quantify that, but let us assume for a moment that yeah, they're more soy boy now because you affirm their delusions, and so they kill themselves more. We probably shouldn't do that, right?
At Burn Bright Gardens, you have a feeling of family. Medline has supported our homes for 12 plus years.
With small organizations.
I don't know if it has to do with affirming their delusions. I'm just
Oh,
saying.
I don't know. The
Oh,
same.
so-
Before we get off that, we're going down rabbit
It
holes.
has to do with like
You guys had to admit, at least total guns, there's definitely way less in 1920 than now. You
Yeah,
can make the per
but
capita argument.
there was less people in 1920 than now. Yeah.
People.
Yeah, but that doesn't make guns less
Population.
available. That makes guns
Okay.
more available. Even though there's more people, there's still
Here,
more
help me-
guns
help me out here.
around available. So that's
Help
going
me
to make
out
an
here.
impact.
Help me out here. What do you think the population in
I
1920?
just don't clarify because you guys were saying
Okay,
wrong
great.
things.
What do you
If want
think?
to per capita, I'll agree. We can move on.
What do you think that the population of 1920 was versus now?
Way smaller. I totally agree. Population has exploded since then,
10
and definitely that would
Okay,
impact.
so it
overall-
was in
overall
1920.
firearms.
Was it about half?
The problem is you guys said total. You didn't say per capita. You guys should have specified per capita. I would agree with you.
Oh, okay. Now you agree with okay. Even though I did say
I don't-
per capita, but okay.
You did not. Let's go rewind it. You did not say that.
You can rewind it, and I just told you that guns were much more readily available in the 1920s than they are now. Way more available. You can go to your local hardware store and buy a machine gun. A machine
Yeah,
gun.
but do you not think? You don't think we produce and sell more guns in total in America now compared to 1920?
Yeah, because people own 15, but almost everybody had a gun in America in the 1920s. It was very common.
Okay, it's fine. You can walk back your original argument. I'm saying
there's nothing to walk back.
total amount of guns. There's way
No
more
one's
now than back
disputing.
then.
There's
That's
more
all I'm
people.
saying.
There's more guns. No one's disputing that.
It has nothing to do with the self-deletion rate, though.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you this. Let us assume for a moment that we
I
had a
think Goatsy
country.
want to jump
Let
in
us
here.
assume for a moment, sir, that we had a country where you had 330 million people and only half of them were armed versus a country where you had 100 million people and 2/3 of them were armed. Which country would have more access to guns?
One more time. Sorry, I'm bad at math.
So
The latter.
you had 300 million people and about half of them had guns versus you had 1 million people and 2/3 of them had guns. Which country is more armed?
I don't disagree. I said per capita. I agree with you. Yeah,
Shut
so
the
I see.
up, you fucking idiot,
I'm making
dude.
your own argument. I said I agree with you per capita. You guys
can
said
barely
total.
take it.
You
I
said
can-
total gun.
Democrats ambush the Department of Education? No, this should be interesting.
Sunday anchor Shannon Bream, also in her red, way to represent. One more thing from Pam Bondi. This is about the crackdown against sanctuary cities.
What they're doing is they are choosing illegal aliens over the safety and security of their own citizens and the men and women of law enforcement who are out there trying to protect their citizens. Not only did we sue today the city of Chicago, we sued the state of Illinois, we sued the mayor, we sued the governor, and we sued others. And let me be...
You know what that reminds me of? What she just said? Okay, if you're a Beavis and Butthead fan, there's a lawyer that would pop up from time to time in episodes. And he would be one of those like ambulance chasing lawyers and everything, and he would be like, "Okay, boys, we are going to sue the school system, we are going to sue the girl, and we are going to sue the girl's parents." Like he would go down a list of people that they were gonna sue. It's funny, trust me.
Be very clear. If you don't comply with federal law, you're going to be next.
Shannon, how will the city
You're next!
of Chicago handle all of that firepower?
You should know where that's from.
Well,
you should know who that
as
is.
you know, they've been very defiant. And what they've heard from is their local citizens who say, why in the world are you prioritizing other folks in this community who came here without the proper legal means over us when our communities are suffering, they're dying, they're struggling. So you've got the feds now. He's got his local folks. Mayor Brandon Johnson is going to have his hands full. I think the interesting thing is, as you heard there from the Attorney General, they're going to go after funding streams. But again, the possibility that local and state officials themselves could get in trouble, legal trouble. If you will remember the original executive orders from President Trump, they talked about this, cutting not only the funding streams, but possibly civil and criminal actions against people that they believe are impeding or actively stopping ICE from doing its federal enforcement job.
You know, Shannon, I want to ask you about the state attorneys general issuing this new statement on their lawsuit about Doge access to sensitive personal information. This seems to be becoming a bigger and bigger, fighting point for Democrats. In that statement, it reads, "This level of access for
Yeah, why are they so messed up about that? Like there's like all these organizations have a ton of access to our personal information anyway. Like, why is it a big problem now for them? Because Republicans doing it?
Authorized individuals is unlawful, unprecedented, and unacceptable. Doge has no authority to access this information which they explicitly sought in order to block critical payments that millions of Americans rely on. We will be filing a lawsuit to stop this injustice." So there's 13 states that are vowing to file lawsuits. We've got a list of them. Is it just this, or is this just a sign of the times and a growing number of Democrats who are just trying to fight Trump's agenda?
Yeah, and I think that's what they're going to do. They say the fight is now in the courts because that's where they're going to have to go for every single one of these things that filters out from the executive branch. Remember, too, the executive order that created Doge actually took an entity that already existed, the United States Digital Service Office, and they just retooled it. So those who are supporting Doge say, listen, the underlying legal framework for this entity already existed. The president has repurposed it to this Doge mission. But you do have lawsuits from federal employees, their unions. You've got it now coming apparently from these attorneys general as well. it is going to be
So they already had it in
hands on
place.
deck battle over all this executive action because, of course, much easier to flood the zone with that than it is to get things done legislatively on the Hill that take a lot more time and, in most cases, some level of bipartisanship and cooperation.
Shannon, I don't know if you can see this, but let me describe something that's happening live to you right now. There are about a dozen lawmakers, Democrats, attempting to get a meeting with the acting education secretary. This comes as President Trump has said the Department of Education, it might be something where Secretary McMahon, if she's confirmed, would get herself out of a
Linda McMahon.
job. And also you had the former Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVos, writing yesterday in the Free Press. She thinks the Department of Education should be eliminated. This is one of those things where they're probably not going to get access to this building, but the Democrats are flummoxed as to how to deal with this, Shannon.
Yeah, Dana, I think you're right. We see them showing up and protesting outside of a number of buildings, or actually, as we saw on Capitol Hill yesterday, I think it was, actually forcing themselves and their way into a meeting that they wanted to be a part of. And I think right now they feel like chaos is the strategy. I think that was the line that was in
The Democrats are an agent of chaos.
Playbook maybe this morning, talking about the fact that they know that they're going to be overwhelmed with all of these actions, all the things that they, are trying to get a hold of. They're showing up. We've seen protests. We've seen we're at war. We've seen them say, take this to the streets. It does feel like the Democrats are kind of back on their heels trying to get control of the messaging, much less the substance of all these different things that are happening, Dana.
And I think the one congressman I can make out there is taking the photograph right now. I believe that's Maxwell Frost. And they're talking to a security guard.
Frost!
So let me just turn it back
I
over
should know
to
where that's from, too.
Sandra, to ask you another question as we watch these Democrats who...
I had somebody comment the other day. They was like, I love how you do all these different sound bites. That's how it is for Scarlo to live with me. I don't just do this for you guys. I do this when I'm by myself. But I also do this when I'm with her. I can be in the middle of a store. I could be sitting down watching TV. Someone says something that reminds me of something. I'm going to let you know that it does indeed remind me of something.
I guess it's performative art in a way, Sandra, to try to make a point.
Absolutely. You notice the camera's up, and you're noting Maxwell Frost, the congressman from Florida, in the picture there. Apparently, this is a security guard. But Shannon, obviously, this is just further signs of what is to come. I spoke with Caroline Levitt, the press secretary, yesterday, and asked her about the president's intentions with the Department of Education. They're not detailing exactly where they're going with this, but there has been a lot of talk about dismantling it altogether or reworking it, but we just don't know, and that uncertainty leads to a lot of this.
It does, and conservatives have...
Well, I don't know what's wrong with dismantling the education department. I don't know what's wrong with retooling it, since our children are not reading at the levels they should be. The math scores aren't what they should be. United States children just aren't as smart as they used to be, or as fit. So we need to get education up and fitness up and health up. Okay? Come on now.
Have been talking about this for a long time, that they feel like states are much better equipped to handle the education system. It's closer to the parents, it's closer to the people that are directly involved, the students as well. So it's one of those agencies that has been targeted by conservatives to say this doesn't need to be this federal behemoth that has all of this money, when states and localities and local school districts know much more about what their students need. They are much more accountable to the parents who show up at these meetings, which we've seen the last few years, to demand answers and accountability for their kids. So not surprising that there would be this conversation about taking this away from the federal level and sending it back to local and state. But I think ideally for conservatives, they want it as local as possible. And that means a threat to the federal agency that now exists.
Shannon, let's try to see if we can hear anything going on.
On your own behalf, were you told to come out and block members of Congress?
They know that we are here. Max, ask the question again. That's important.
Were you told, are you making this decision to stand in front of this door on your own behalf, on behalf of the Department of Education, or were you told to come out here and block members of Congress and go at the desk?
I'm doing my job.
So everybody's
What is that? We're doing our job. We're trying to save you. We're doing our job.
So I guess he's is this just security?
Show him your ID. Were you told to stand here, or did you decide to stand
Maybe he's
here?
not security. Maybe he's because they're like,
Here and block members of Congress from entering the Department of Education.
maybe he is.
Federal buildings.
We're allowed in there.
So a private security contractor.
Okay.
Do you know who members of Congress are?
Members of Congress.
We're all members of Congress. Maybe he doesn't understand. Do you
A private
understand who
security
members of Congress
contractor is making the decision to block members of Congress from a public access entrance.
With them running up in there like that, I'm like, okay, so you want to keep our children the way they are? Is that what you're saying? You don't want to make our children smarter? You don't want to make our children healthier? You don't want to make sure that things aren't being spent?
You gotta hear about this. Go from idea to illustration faster with generative AI in Adobe Illustrator. Generate custom graphics, create seamless patterns, and instantly fill shapes with detail and color. Try Illustrator today. You won't be sorry.
Improperly? Like, I don't understand.
I don't think he knows.
You have the authority as a private security contractor to block members of Congress. That has been knighted and granted to you.
You have to at least let us go.
No comment. He's security, so it is what it is. They hired him to secure the building, so it is what it is.
Open the door. So do you understand who members of Congress are? Well, and you don't care. Who are we then? You don't care. We have a job to do. We're not dangerous people. We're not. I don't know. We're members security. There are no thieves and thugs out here. We're members of Congress. We're parents. We're teachers.
Watch somebody crazy say, they're hiring mercenaries as security to keep us out.
There's our ID, right there.
We were elected to do this.
This is our job.
I mean, how long has he been holding up that ID? He already knows who you are. I mean, y'all can argue him down, but he's not moving. I would just leave. You know what I mean? But I guess maybe they're performing for the cameras. I mean, you get in there, cameras get their shot, and then you leave. He's not going to let you in. You all going to have to bum rush him and beat him up, and they're not going to do that. That'd make him look real bad, you know? So it's like, just leave. Go back another day.
We're doing our job. You're securing this building against who? Members of Congress.